Hey everyone, thank you for joining me. So today we have the Buck Knives Decatur. I believe that's how you say it. Simple little knife. Now this was sent in by a supporter of the channel, so I just wanted to give a shout out to Ben and say thank you for the opportunity to customize your knife for you. So really quick, we'll put the specs up on screen and we'll just get right into it. We have a drop point style blade made of 7CR stainless steel. It's got a nice hollow grind, so we have a nice thin edge. I believe this is riding on bearings. It's a liner lock style blade. It's got black G10 handles and a non-reversible deep carry pocket clip. The screws aren't recessed, but it's never really been an issue for me. Again, a fairly simple knife, and the ergos on this blade are actually really comfortable since it's designed, as you guys can tell, just a very clean, simple design, so the ergos are going to be comfortable. Now you do have a forward finger choil there. You can choke up on it, but your finger does touch that sharp edge, so keep that in mind if you do get one of these blades. The action is really smooth on this thanks to the bearings, so it flies right out, and the drop shed on it is fairly smooth. You have to give a little bit of a wiggle, but it does drop shut. Now the only issue I have with this knife, and so does the customer I believe, he's not too fond of the pocket clip here. It does have a really high point here at the tip, and especially when you are gripping this knife, you can definitely feel that pocket clip. So it's definitely a issue. It's a hot spot. Now I've noticed I can fix it by just getting rid of this tab here and lowering it just a little bit. Benchmade does their pocket clips like that, so I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to cut it down maybe to there and then just round it off just like this style here. And it should get rid of that hot spot and be a lot more comfortable in the hand, which leads to the changes that I'll be doing to this blade. That is one of the issues I will be fixing. But then for the scales, I will be creating some new copper scales, and I'll be adding some texturing. So let's take this thing apart and see what we're dealing with. Alright, so here it is all taken apart. Now these standoffs are a little stubborn. I'll have to put this in boiling water to soften the Loctite I believe that they used. I'm glad I was able to get it this far. Even the pivot screw was being stubborn, and that's due to the fact that it's a D-shaped pivot pin, as you guys can see here, but none of the liners or the scales have a D-shaped hole, so I'm surprised I was able to take it out that easily. So I might have to figure something out if I can fix that issue. If not, then I just won't put as much Loctite as they did. But other than that, it's, again, pretty basic. So now that it's all taken apart, let's customize it. Alright, so here it is all customized. Now, unfortunately, when I was taking this apart, I wasn't able to remove the original standoffs. So, luckily I had some extra ones lying around, since I do have some extra parts, but it didn't want to come off, so I had to actually cut the standoffs off, since they put a lot of Loctite and just did not want to come out. So, again, had some other standoffs, and these ones actually work with the knife, and they look good once it's all assembled. I'll show you guys once I assemble it, but that's the only downside to the customizing part of this blade. And then, as you guys saw in the building section of the video, I shortened the pocket clip. I gave it a satin finish as well, since I gave a satin finish on the scales and the liners. So as you guys can see, a lot shorter. It doesn't protrude as high, so it is a lot more comfortable. And of course, here is the scales. I'm going to try and not touch these with my bare hands, at least the surface, because copper likes to tarnish very easily. So I'll actually be using really soft gloves to assemble this, just so I can get it as clean as I can to the customer, and that way they can get their own nice patina. But as you guys saw in the half section where there's no rock texture, I put a satin finish. Looks really good. And then I did a rock pattern that kind of fades away into the back, which I think just gives it a unique look, makes it a little bit different. And I did this style of rock texture on the Ambitious. I'll leave a link to that video up here in the corner somewhere. You guys can check that out if you guys haven't. But very similar. That was in brass, but this one is in copper. And again, just does its thing in the light. So super happy with the scales. Definitely makes this knife a lot heavier. But let's put it together and see what it looks like. One more thing I wanted to mention about this knife was that the liners didn't have a D-shaped hole for the pivot and keeps it from twisting. So I actually created a D-shaped hole in the scale. That way it's just easier for Ben to take it apart if he has to. It's just something I had to do. I couldn't send it back to the customer that way because I know how frustrating it can get. And I'm sure you guys know too. So that's one thing I also did to this, just to make Ben's life easier. Alright, let's get back to it. Alright, so here it is all put together, and yeah, I really like how it came out. Even with these gloves, it's already starting to get really, it's just really sensitive when it comes to any sort of oil. So this is what it looks like, all nice and shiny before it tarnishes. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. The pocket clip is a lot better, a lot lower. And then the action is very smooth, as I expected. And the drop shed is very good. And now you can actually, since I created that D-shaped hole, you can actually tighten down on it and then untighten it to clean it up. So there's just a really nice advantage to that D-shaped hole. And the pocket clip is just a lot better in my opinion. Let's see if we got rid of the hot spot. I mean, it's slightly there, but it's not as bad as it was before. Way better in hand, and it doesn't stick into the palm of my hand. So super happy with the outcome. I think Ben will like that too, since that was one of the issues he had. But there it is, you guys. Let me know what you guys think of it down below. I guess we can give it a quick weigh just so you guys can see what we're dealing with here. I'm gonna say 7.5 ounces. Oh wow, okay, so I was a little extreme, but it's 5.54 ounces, so it's not crazy heavy, but for its size, it's pretty heavy. I'd say it's a good weight. Again, I like heavy knives anyway. You guys saw what I did to my Yojimbo. Just went all brass. This thing is getting darker, but again, I will be creating a similar texture on the Yojimbo here. But yeah, the Decatur came out really, really well. Really happy with it. Again, I appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, you guys, I will see you on the next one.